Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. We'll get started in about a minute or two, so just hang tight, and thank you for being here. All right, welcome everybody to Stock Analysis Friday. Great to be back here with you again. Quick note, next week we will also be here, but I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving holiday next week. All right, enjoy yourself. And if you have any trouble with the audio or with the picture today, let us know in the comments area. And of course, this is a webinar where we're going to analyze stocks, but you're going to give me the stocks for the most part. I'll have a few that I'll share with you, but for the most part, what we want to do is analyze any trades you're thinking about here today. All right, and also too, by doing that, when we get enough people here, what happens is we kind of find some that we may not have been aware of personally, right? So therefore, it's almost like a stock picking service as well. You may walk away from this room today with a few prime stock trades that you can initiate as well. All right, so that's kind of the purpose of Stock Analysis Friday. The other purpose is it allows me to show off my software. We've been in business now for quite some time. I think we got actually incorporated in the year 2000, but we were operating as an unincorporated business for about 2 years prior to that. So since 1998, we've been around the block. I've written several books and also created the Applied Reality Trading System. And if you want more information about that, you can go to one of our many websites, either at appliedrealitytrading.com or traderscoach.com. All right, so yes, good morning, everybody. All right, so let me go through a few administrational items just to get those out of the way, and then let's jump in and take a look at some stocks here. All right, first thing I've got to talk about are the risks that are involved in trading the financial markets. Like any financial endeavor, there's always the risk of losing money, and that's no different with trading or even investing. So you need to be aware of that. So you always want to trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. We cannot guarantee any trades will do as we expected because we work in a realm of probabilities, okay? But what we try to shoot for is having an edge in the market, and therefore more of our picks will work out better, okay? So that's kind of like the general situation with probabilities, is that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you want to win more often, right? So you need to also, one of the other aspects of trading the financial markets that's really important is when you have something that is a losing trade, get out when you're supposed to, because so many people, what they do is they tend to go into a hopeism mindset where they try to keep their losing trades way beyond the limit or price where they should have gotten out. And of course, in short-term trading, it's a zero-sum game, and that's usually a disaster. So you don't want to do that. Get out when you're supposed to, learn from the trade, and move on to that next winning trade. That's the idea. So risk control is really important of keeping those losses in line. And then also, finally, we don't know your personal financial situation, all right? But your money manager or financial advisor should. So any recommendations that we come up with here or any of my ideas based on my analysis, please run those by your financial advisor or money manager. Be sure they're suitable for you. And again, that's really important. All right, so that's some things I like to always say before we begin an event like this. All right, if you're interested in any of our books, here they are. You can see the ones on money management. I got a new book, second edition, called The Art of Trading, being published by Wiley. All right, I also have a book on a form of technical analysis called The Elliott Wave, and that was published by McGraw-Hill. And then The Survival Guide for Traders, also published by Wiley, which is a book that really specifies and talks about how to run your trading out of your home with today's technology, just like a professional hedge fund. So those books are available in many different bookstores. I'm going to put a link up in the recording for our Amazon bookstore where you can order those, or you can just go to our website. Same thing with our software. The software I developed basically on my probably close to 30 years now, or maybe 30 plus years of trading the financial markets. And it's a culmination of what I found worked best in the market. And then, of course, we automated it into an AI automation software situation. So we got the ART software, we get the OWL, the PTF, TLM, and ERI indicators, with which automatically look at price patterns for you. And then we have scanners underneath that and risk control software. So we try to cover all the main bases that you need to have mastered in order to do well in the markets. And so we call that the ultimate trading system. And then finally, give us a like. Do it right now if you don't mind, okay? No time like the present, as they say. And basically, the more likes we get, the better we do on YouTube. And bring a friend, okay? The more people we get here, the more stocks we can look at. And the more stocks we can look at, the more opportunities we can uncover. So that's really important. So thank you for being here. I know Fridays is a busy time, but we'll try to make that time well worth it. All right, so I've shown my platform. I just got out of the PowerPoint, and I'm showing my platform here. And a couple things I just want to go over, especially if it's the first time you're here. All right, so our software is embedded or loaded into a charting platform called NinjaTrader. Now we have, our software is compatible with many platforms out there: eSignal, TradeStation, Multicharts, MT4 and 5. So it doesn't matter, as long as you're using one of those platforms, you can load our software right into there. And the nice thing about NinjaTrader is it also imports data from various brokerages. So it's kind of a nice way for you to get a secondary platform and get that data in there. And then what I do is I put, I set up my charts. So you can see 3 charts, and they're all of the same symbol. This happens to be the ETF for Bitcoin called GBTC. And notice you'll see it 3 times here. So what we do is we try to look at a stock or an ETF, whatever market we're looking at, on different time frames: a short-term time frame, an intermediate, and a long-term time frame. And the reason for that is because each time frame gives us clues as to what the particular stock or ETF is going to do. So over here on the far left, we got a 60-minute time frame, and that's a short-term, considered a short-term time frame. So every price bar that you see on this chart is an hour long. Well, obviously 60 minutes, right? So an hour long. Every price bar in the middle chart, because this is a daily chart, is a full day, and that's called an intermediate time frame. And the nice thing about that is that you're looking at it in a little bit longer term aspect than the short term. And the price configuration set up in certain ways on the different time frames to give us a ideal entry, also as an ideal exit too. And then the far right-hand chart is the weekly, which is our longer term time frame. Each price bar represents a full week. So when we analyze a stock, we get a really good picture, short term, intermediate, and long term, and then we can choose how we want to trade that stock and how long we want to be in that trade. Now on the top here, this multicolored thing up here, this is something called our scanners. So we have scanners that find stocks for us to trade. It works on all markets and all time frames. So this is how, for example, we sort through the over 10,000 stocks out there to find the best ones based on our analysis. We're not going to use that today because you guys are going to give me symbols, right? And then at the bottom, we have certain indicators that help us also time the market for entries and exits. First one is the OWL. This stands for the optimum wave locator. And it also helps us count the Elliott wave, which is a form of technical analysis that assigns numbers to trends in the market, kind of gives us an idea of the cycle we're in. And then under that's the PTF indicator. You'll probably see me use that today and the OWL quite often. And basically what that is doing is when it's green or red, it's telling us whether more highs or more lows are coming. Yellow is neutral. And then under that's the trend line master, one of our indicators that actually draws the trend lines on the chart for us and gives us an idea of how the trend is doing on that time frame. And then under that is our emotional reader index, which looks at prices in correlation to the trend line to give us an idea of if we're in a greed or fear situation in the market. So those are all our indicators. This is the art software working up here. And we have pyramids, all right, which are triangular trend trading programs based off higher highs and higher lows and fractal analysis. And then we have art reversals as well on our charts. All right, so that is the art software. All right, now let's dig in and see what we got cooking. So I'm going to cover GBTC first, and then I'm going to take a look at what you want me to look at here. So GBTC is the ETF for Bitcoin, and we recommended this quite a long time ago, and it's done really well. I think you're going to get a pullback. You might be starting to get it now. So we may get a pullback into this area here, and this is on the daily chart. And on the shorter term chart, pretty much the same, right in this area here. So right around 25.5 to 22.5 is a possible area where it could pull back, and it's at 28.68. So if you want to wait for a profit-taking pullback, that might not be a bad idea on this. If you're in this for the long term, well, you know, we're very bullish on this. We think it's going to keep going up. But you do have, after you do have big surges like you had here, which is kind of more price bars in the shorter time frame, it's time for a little profit taking before it can resurge. You know, the market's all about cycles. You know, it moves forward, pulls back, moves forward, and then perhaps it changes trend. But it's all about cycles. And so we think it's due for a profit taking pullback, which would be a temporary pullback, but not a change in trend. So if you're in GBTC, make a decision whether you want to stay in it long term. If so, move your stop far enough to survive any type of profit taking. Otherwise, you can be more aggressive and get out and then try to get back in. But that's one I just wanted to share with you. Done really well. I think we first recommended it. It was just under $10, and it is now at 28. So a lot more upside, I think, but little pullback due. All right, let's see what we got cooking out there. All right, let me see here. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. Peter's asking me, which camp are you in? Bull camp that sees the, well, let me put his comment up there. Bull camp that sees the SPX retest 46 by Christmas, or bear camp that sees it. I think, I have to be honest, Peter, I'm in the bear camp, okay? I think this entire movement we've had since the major top back in 2022, all right, is now in a complex in terms of the Elliott wave analysis, because that's what I would use to make this type of statement. I think we are in a complex long-term correction, and it's not uncommon to see very big bull runs inside a bear market. All right, so they're basically bull rallies inside a bear market. We have not gone above the 22 high, the year 2022 high. And as long as we don't, I'm going to stick with a bear forecast. All right. I know some people are out there saying that they expect the market to take off. I'm not in that camp. Okay. I think we probably will at some point sell off. Now, with that said, I see us not selling off quite yet. I see the NASDAQ still very bullish and more highs coming temporarily in that, but not above the 2022 high. Okay. So probably I don't see any type of major movement down until after the holidays. Okay. So if you're interested in that, actually, I do a stock market review and we post it here on YouTube. So if you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see something called a stock market forecast that we do for our Yummy subscribers. Okay. So check that out and that'll give you a more clear, concise view of what I think. All right, Al, let's take a look at what you got cooking this week. Okay, are you in? Let's jump in and see what we got. All right, so I guess you're looking at these for a bullish possibility, if I'm correct. Okay, so what I like about what you did here, Al, on this one is you're looking for markets that have sold off and hopefully oversold off, getting ready for either a change in trend or a bounce. And so that certainly seems to be what's happening on this stock. Now, a couple things. When we look at the short-term time frame here, okay, we've got that bounce clearly identified. Notice you have a green owl, so the momentum is good, and you have higher highs coming. All right, great, okay. Here, you still got a little bit of red down here, but you do have a pyramid here. Now, a couple things here. This is kind of where our rule base comes in, right? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5 pyramids of red color in a row. So when you have that, you can actually take an MP pyramid against a downtrend. So that is a possibility. So this would be, if you're short, you do a stop and reverse down here and go long. That is a possibility of what you could do based on the fact that you have that many pyramids in a row. I think you're very close to going green here. So if you want to take an early entry right now off this pyramid, I'm going to say it's okay to do, because with this green here, you're going higher. You should go higher before you, in other words, this should be a major bottom. You might have a little pullback, but you should be going higher. That bottom should hold, and that owl should turn green on the daily. So let's put run down. Boy, nothing like starting that with a boom, right? Let's put run down as a buy, okay? Target on this, whenever you think about a buy, it's a good idea to have a target. All right, we've had a heck of a retracement, haven't we? Okay, so it's very possible we could be getting a new major trend up. That's very possible. But let's take the worst case scenario and see where this thing could be heading. And maybe we'll draw some fibs in. And I don't do it off the top, I do it off the second top, which is a Elliott wave 2 of some degree. So I'm looking at 37 to 55. We're at 1098. The stop should go at the bottom, all right, of this move. So you've got a good, probably 3, maybe 4 to 1 risk to reward in your favor. That's a go, okay? So I'm liking that. Good job. All right, let's take a look at CSIQ. Okay. So here's another one Al has found that's trending down, but on this one here, we're not quite at the bottom. And I say that very quickly because our short-term PTF is indicating more lows. All right, so we may get some type of little rebound, but I don't know. I think right now we got to make another low before we're going up. This is pretty low here, but pretty close here. But I think one more low and then Al, I think it might be good. So I would put this one on a watch list, because let it bottom out here, let it make that another low, and then I think you're going to be spot on for a possible trade to the upside. It's too late to go short too. All right, it's just too many, you're too far down in this trend, too much risk. All right, let's take a URBN. Let's take a look at that one. Okay, so this one has been going up quite some time already. My thing is that on this, we have more highs coming. There's, the PTF here is indicating that this particular high should be taken out. So the PTF is an interesting animal because what it's telling you here is that you find the highest price bar in that green area. And there's a 75% probability, not 100, but 75, that we're going to exceed that top. Now, it doesn't talk about the journey it's going to take to get there. So, you have the zigzags in the market, you have profit taking. So, and it doesn't tell you when. It just tells you there's a high probability that that high is going to be taken out. So when you enter a long trade, that's good information to know. So if you got in way down here, all right, with this, that gives you the extra confidence that you're getting into a pretty sizable trade. The only problem I see with this now is this trade now is pretty far along. So there's more risk now getting in here without that much expected profit. So I probably would shy away from this one. All right, I like a little bit more profit compared to the risk I could take on this trade. All right, so it's a little late, I guess is what I'm saying. All right, but not bad. It should make more highs. I don't know if you're in it currently. If so, I'd stay in it. All right, but if you're new, I'd probably not go into it for the first time. All right, PANW. Let's see what's going on for that. All right, this is another one. If you look right away on the weekly chart, that's a beautiful wave 3 trend, and you can even see that on the owl down here. Let me open that up just so you can see what an ideal Elliott wave 3 looks like. And this has been in place for quite some time, really since the year 2000. So we had probably a bottom down here, and then it moved. So this was probably an Elliott wave 1, a 2. I'm thinking maybe 1 here, 3 here. So this was the build up and the start here. So if you go back to 2014, you can see this moving up here, here, here. Now we're going to get a zigzag correction at some point with one more high. Why isn't this a 3 and this a 4 and this a 5? Because this owl is, without sounding too arrogant, is always the highest on wave 3. So that cannot be a 5, okay? It has to be a 3, all right? And this is a minor 4 inside that 3. So you're setting up, we've got a little bearish divergence building up. I'm thinking maybe a little bit more high here. But again, my problem with this here, is it better to enter here or down in here? Okay, here, right? So it's too risky now, all right? There's just not enough profit potential based even on that there's no green PTFs. If anything, there's a red one over here. So have your stop if you're long-term on this, set at this pyramid. This is what the pyramids are for, to help you put your stop loss placement, okay? And if you get stopped out, get out, because it's going to probably change the trend. All right, and let's take a look at your next one up here, USFD. Okay, so this one, interestingly enough, long-term is basically the PTF is saying this should return at some point during the next leg down and take that low out. Short-term, we're still going up, okay? That's how you read the different charts. So this is still making new highs, so you don't want to go short yet. But when this turns yellow, this turns red, and we have yellow is okay here and red is okay here. So we got to wait for this chart, this time frame, to turn bearish before I can recommend that as a short trade. I would not go long here, okay? All right, thank you for that. All right, Jim, how are you? All right, USO, excellent one to look at. That's the ETF for the crude oil market. So let's bring that one up. All right, crude oil has really come down, all right, tremendously amount. A lot more than we expected on this profit-taking trend so far. And unfortunately, it is still going down for those of you that are long. All right. So what do you do in a case like this? All right. Well, if you look at the long-term chart, let's open that up. I'm primarily interested in this configuration here. This we felt was a big bottom down here. Okay. And that occurred in the year 2000. It came up quite significantly here, and now we have some teetering here, and we think basically, even though we've seen a tremendous sell-off recently in crude oil, in other words, prices coming down, we think this is only a profit-taking stage or part of a natural pullback in the market. You can come up with many reasons from a fundamental standpoint of why that's happening, and that's fine. But when we look at technicals, we're basically looking at the different cycles in the market, and we are in a classic profit-taking cycle. This bottom, okay, we are hoping will hold. If that bottom holds, and this is just a slight profit-taking inside this major move up, then we should have a rebound pretty soon to the upside. That's kind of what we're thinking. So my target on crude, believe it or not, long term is between like $100 and 123. Okay, more precisely 98.6 to 123.9. So that's kind of what I still think crude is doing. Now, with that said, that forecast is dependent on this long-term bottom that was put in this year to hold. And that also represented a profit-taking phase here, but we may still be in it, okay? So we have to see what's going to happen with this and see what's going to unfold. I'm going to draw fib retracements on this move here for just a minute. And see, you can see when it first came down off this high, it hit the target and bounced off it. So that bottom should hold unless prices are going to go back and make a new low in that target. Always a possibility in the markets, right? There's always a alternate type of scenario that could unfold, and yet the overall forecast could be correct. So basically, a long trade here assumes the bottom's in, and if that's not the case, then you got to wait for it to bottom again and then go long. So the long-term forecast of this target does not change on either scenario. It's just a matter of if we hit the stop correctly, the bottom correctly. So back to all three time frames here for a moment. We've got a red PTF here, so we're still heading down. All right, we're not done yet. Do not go long. If you're not in this, don't go long. If you're long on this, this is why I say keep that stop on the bottom, especially during the first turn up. Wait for this to come down, and if that bottom holds and then takes out the high here, move that stop up under here, okay? And technically, that is a proper way to handle this market, okay? Good one to look at is I'm not recommending this yet. If the bottom looks like it's going to hold and we get a turnaround, I will recommend it for new traders. If you're in it, have that stop as low as you can afford to keep it. All right, UNG. See what's cooking on that bad boy. And UNG is the ETF for natural gas. This is another one, okay, that looked like it was bottoming here. And I'm just going to draw a horizontal line indicating where the bottom is. And we are fastly approaching that. So tricky one here, all right? If we're long here, okay, and we're hoping this is a bottom, our stop's under here, right? And it's either going to hold or not. And if it doesn't hold, it just means we got the bottom wrong. It's still bottoming out. And that could happen. All right. If that happens, stay with it because eventually this will bottom and it'll be a tremendous, tremendous trade to the upside. Okay. So you kind of want to keep that in mind. So stop at the bottom. It doesn't look good. This is pretty close. And this is a red. See the shiver of red? But we'll see. I mean, it's just showing it could go lower than that price bar. We're almost there right now. So it'll be interesting. This will be what we call a nail biter, Jim. And we'll see what happens with that. But I do think if this is not the bottom, we are darn close to it. Okay, so stay with it and we'll keep an eye on it. If you're new here, do not go into this to the long side yet. And don't go short yet. All right, it's just the best thing to do is wait and see, and let's see what happens with this. All right, Al's back with more. Okay, let's see. ACB. ACB. All right, so ACB here. Boy, nice one here too. Bottoming here. We made a new low over here. Check this out. So we did make a new low on this. You can move just barely right here. Okay, let's see what kind of look we got on the 60-minute chart. Probably not too much liquidity on this. 60-minute chart isn't as smooth as the higher time frame, so that's an indication liquidity is a little on the low side. So what do you do with this now? All right, so we got green PTFs on both this time frame and this time frame. That's a good sign for a long trade. I want to wait for this to go green, and we've got a small pyramid here, but I have to be honest with you, at this particular point, we're so close to the bottom. Let's wait and see this thing get above here. I mean, this is a penny stock, right? It's actually a pretty good volume for a penny stock. So I'm thinking it's got to go above that high there. I wouldn't touch it unless it does. I'm not, penny stocks you got to be careful with because of the liquidity issue with it. So the high on that is 0.52. I wouldn't go long until 0.53, and then I would check the owls on both these time frames. All right, so there's kind of, you can see how it jumps quite a bit. So the PTF is calling for more highs, but let's let it break out because you don't want to get stuck, especially in these small stocks, of it just going sideways before it breaks out because that money could be put to work someplace else, right? So I'm not going to recommend this one to you, but I would put this on a watch list for those of you that like the penny stocks. Okay. All right. MANU. All right, so let's take a look at this and see if there's some opportunity to the upside. All right, I'm going to open up the weekly chart because it's kind of messy. Let's see if it can give, okay. Right away, that's a really tough chart on this time frame to get any type of forecast. All right, Elliott wave or whatever you use, pretty difficult here. So if this is a possibility of some type of impulsive, messy wave here, then this could be ready to go, maybe a 3, some type of 4 off this, 1, 2, 5 possibility. Okay, that's about the only logical wave count I can get off that, looking at it that quickly. So we got a green PTF and a green PTF here. Okay, a couple things here. One is, let's see if prices got over this part. That's 20.51. The high for today is 20.35. All right, first of all, we got to break out over this bearish pyramid. So technically, you're still short this if you went short on that pyramid. So that's where the stop is. So I don't want to go long here on that. And you've only had 2 pyramids in a row because it was interrupted by this bullish one. So that does not fit the rule for going long on a minor, right? So we got to wait this out. Let's let this go green. Let's see some more bullishness come in. And then you may have what we call a PTF scalp trade, which means that your target is based only on the PTF indicator and not on any type of Elliott wave or anything like that. And so that may give you enough 2-to-1 risk to reward if you put your stop under that pyramid to take that trade. But it's got to take out that pyramid first, okay, that bearish one right here. So I put this on a watch list, okay, keep it there. It's not my favorite, but there is a PTF opportunity there for a scalp trade if things happen a little bit more to the upside for proof. All right, let's take a look at your next one here, FUTU. All right, FUTU is looking, let's see, okay, that's looking pretty decent. That's looking much better. All right, so based on this PTF alone, you can see why I love this thing. Don't forget it has a 75% accuracy rate. So that stop can go way up here. Not stop, that profit line can go way up here. So here's the thing with the PTFs. People will say, geez, it has a 75% probability rate. Just take any trade that has that. Well, it's not that easy. And the reason for that is because it all depends upon where you put your stop. Because if you put your stop too close at times and it's still in a bottoming sequence, it may stop you out. The PTF may stay green, but your stop was too close. So you miss the trade once it happens. Okay, so stop loss placement is everything on a PTF trade. I would put this here, okay, If you have a little profit taking here, you could come down to an inflection point. That pyramid right now is too close to the inflection point, so I wouldn't use that. Now, if this keeps going up and no new pyramids form, I'd use this pyramid here because that could be below the inflection point at that point. So, all right, so the weekly chart looks as a buy, okay? So let's go here because you got a green pyramid, everything's green. All right, you got a green pyramid here, nothing red here. Yellow is okay, by the way, for any trade, long or short on the PTF. Green here, a little red here. All right, I would say this is one I think you can take here, okay? It fits the rules. I'm not worried about the red owl here so much, not with a green PTF. This is green, green, green. Looks like we may have a major bottom here. So again, stop loss placement is very important. At least here, better here. All right, that's gonna a little further down. So it means lower trade size or position size to accommodate for a stop further away in order to keep your loss percentage the same, okay? So that's FUTU, we'll put that on the buy list. All right, HUT. See how much easier it is when you do this with the right trading tools? You can literally look at a market and analyze it in minutes, if not seconds sometimes. All right, so here we got green PTF here. All right, we've got a big move down here, so that's a good thing. All right, hopefully the bearishness is out of it. Still got a little bit of red here, and you can see that was coming down. So the million-dollar question is this a bottom or not? Okay. Right now, we're coming down here and coming down here with a red PTF, so more lows are coming. So while this bottom could hold, we don't want to go in it now because it's still pulling back and it may test the bottom, it may form a new bottom, but we don't have bullishness here, okay? All right, this is not a good sign here. This also just turned red. So let's see if some bullishness comes back in before it goes below that bottom. So let's put this again on a watch list. Now, if it makes another bottom, if it goes lower than this, that's okay. Just stay with it until it does bottom and we'll look at it again. So not a bad one, but it's not a buy right now, okay? AZN, let's take a look at that one. All right, so what do we got cooking there? Let's open up this weekly chart. All right, so that's a wave 3, no question about it, okay? Nice dramatic move up, very high momentum over here. 1 probably here, I'd say 2, 3. All right, looks to me like we're going into a correction. Let's see where that is going to place this here. All right, so I think probably prices are coming down to 57 roughly and 45, and we're at 64. Little late to go short because where are you going to put your stop? If you put your stop here on this chart, all right, the risk to reward, where price is here, is not 2 to 1 unless you go deep into the target zone. But maybe there's a trade in the short-term time frames. Let's see, okay? Let's bring this up here. We got the PTFs indicating it's going below 62. Our stop would have to be above this pyramid at least. You probably would have close to a 2 to 1 here, but this is green, so you're in a little bit of a move up. So I'm going to give this a no-go, okay? It's not ready for a short trade quite yet. I'm hoping if we get a big pull up here and we haven't reached this target zone, it could be a short trade, definitely not a long trade, okay, for right now. All right, that's AZN. All right, thank you, Al. All right, let's, oh, one more. Okay, SMCI. Let's see what that one's looking like here. Whoops. Give me a second. Okay. All right, so again, what Al's looking at is something bottoming. And good job on finding these. We even took out this bottom before, which is, you know, interesting, right? So there it is. But look here, red PTF. All right. So we're still coming down. I think we're going down. This is another penny type stock. It looks like we're going to go below 165. All right. Now, do we have a bottom? It's possible at 150, right? It's possible, or 149 and some change or whatever. So it's possible, but right now with the red PTF on the 60-minute, don't go in, okay? We can take a look at it next week. Peter, you're welcome. All right, thank you for the question. All right, let's keep going here. You guys are great. STX, awesome, a number of picks. The more picks we got to look at, the better, right? All right, so I'll tell you, literally finding good trades sometimes is like finding a needle in the haystack. You just have to go through the charts and do the analysis. All right, so let's take a look at this one here. All right, so this one looks like it began its life in 2002. All right, so let's see what we've got here. All right, so we've got a new movement up here as a 3. That's a pretty big retracement there. And we have a new movement up here. So, all right, so let's just see what we got. We got no PTF. We've got green here and a green pyramid. So technically that's bullish, right? Where it's going, not really sure, all right? Because it's not that clear of an analysis here. If this is a major bottom and a major correction, then we're going above here. So that's great, right? That's almost double your money. Let's see if the short-term charts help us a little bit. Ooh, okay. So in this case here, we have, I don't know if you can see this, a yellow PTF. So what happens is when the PTF is green, and this was the high on the PTF, right? So when that's taken out, all right, and it remains green, then this is still okay, right? And then it reaches there and finally it takes the high out, but there's not enough momentum to keep it green, so it turns neutral, yellow. So right now it's not telling us anything, and it's not telling us anything on any of the time frames. The other thing too is that I'm not sure exactly where this is going. It's not very clear, and so I think I'd pass. I think some of the other ones we found are better, all right? Maybe it'll get cleaned up later on, but for right now, not so good, all right? SYF, let's take a look at that one. All right, couple things here. There's another form of technical analysis called a pennant, and I see it on the chart in the middle, which is the daily chart. All right, let's see what we got. Let me open this bad boy up. Big move up here, right? Huge. Alice didn't get that big, which is kind of interesting. All right, a lot of pyramids down, pretty messy. I think all this would be a great possibility to almost change the minimum formation score on the pyramids to probably a more strict higher number, because there's a lot of volatility that's creating many pyramids. They're not bad, but we might be able to clean it up a little bit. Anyway, that's for a different day. All right, so what do we got cooking here? All right, so I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to draw a pennant, possible pennant. Okay, let's take it here and go here. Looks like a trend line at this point, right? And then I'm going to go from here, possibly here. Okay, I would like to have had a better point back here, but that's not bad. All right, so, you know, inside this area is kind of neutral. And there's your pennant, by the way. You know, pick your favorite yacht club, okay? All right, so there's your pennant area. So if prices stay in here, it's kind of more the same. They pop out, that's a powerful bullish signal. If it pops down, that's a powerful bearish signal. That's kind of basically how that works. These are MPs, not crazy about this one without a PTF. We got a PTF up here on the 60-minute chart, but again, there's no 2-to-1 risk to reward, I don't think there. Maybe. But, you know, you're talking about 31 and you're at 29.5. So you got to decide what kind of trade you want to take. I would not take that. You got a red PTF, so I would pass on this one, okay? All right, FY. You know, if you have to kind of scratch your head sometimes more than twice on your analysis, maybe it's time to move on, right, to a different stock. All right, so we looked at this before, and we had indicated, you know, we're coming up off a bottom. There's not a lot of history here. So we're coming up off a bottom. This was the target for the retracement. And you can see that we just have one owl here. And statistically, we usually get a minimum of 4. Not always, but that's a statistic probability. So you've got 1, so you probably do for another 3. All right, we got bullishness here, but bearishness here. Again, no go. And basically what you're seeing here is a pretty good move up. So now it's saying, all right, we're going to come down on profit taking. Maybe it'll go back up. We're already in the target, so maybe it won't. Okay, maybe it'll sell off from here eventually. But with one, here's what I think is going to happen. I think probably a little profit taking, move back up in. This does its 4, okay, starts to go red, and then we get a move back down. So I wouldn't do anything with this, okay, FYBR. All right, and then I think what you got here is BBAI. All right. All right, another bottom fisher here. Okay, so we were looking last week at this to get above the red pyramid, and it did it. So that was one of the things. We didn't want to go long until that short trade on the long-term time frame's taken out. This is good. This is good. This is the target. Yes, take it. Okay, BBAI is now one you can take. All right, nice job. That goes on the winners list. All right, again, low price stock. Let's talk about, we know that this, let me just draw a target line up here. Give me 1 second. Put that maybe up there. Let's change that to a green to indicate a bullish target. Okay, that's our target. Now we got to determine where do we want to put our stop. This is always the game maker or breaker. I would put it as low as you can here. Okay, I know it's pretty far away, but you got to give this thing some breathing room. If that is just too far for your pocketbook, then try to put it maybe on that price bar under there. You got to give this thing enough room for volatility, okay? So under the bottom there is good as you can get. Let's go to the 60-minute and just see. So this little area I'm telling you here is probably this pyramid here. Now, let's take a look and see, just out of curiosity, if this thing is going to is in a profit-taking correction right now, which it could be, all right? Where is this thing going to go? So if you put your stop this low, under the 150 mark, you should be able to survive a normal retracement area, because 70% of the time retracements go between the two blue lines, regardless of time frame. 15%, they go a little lower. So the odds are on your favor if you put your stop under that 150 mark. So that's where I put my stop. Okay, and that's why I like the 3 time frames, because it kind of clears things up a bit. All right, so that's a go. So we have to look at quite a few stocks, but now we have 3 good possibilities, right? RUN, FUTU, and BBAI, right? So good job. All right, Alexander, how are you? Let's take a look at some here. CME, let's get together with that. Chicago Mercantile Exchange. All right, so let's see what's cooking here. All right, couple things here. Got a little bit of a pennant, I think. Yeah, okay, let me draw it in here on the 60. All right, so there's something like that. Let me just put a little more chart up here and draw that further out. Okay, and let me do that. I can kind of tell you where I've got the pennant. Okay, that's pretty clean, okay? So there's the pennant, and that's on the short-term 60-minute chart. You could probably also draw that on the daily as well, because I can see the attachment points here, the anchoring points here, so we could do it on both time frames. And you can choose what time frame you like. All right, so that's the pennant. All right, so what does that mean? Well, like before, the breakout from the pennant will be a big determination. Now, according to this, it should break out to the upside, and this should be our target, right? Okay. So if it breaks out here and this is our target, there's not much room is there for profit? All right, now, are we going to go above that? Well, it's possible, okay, for sure. How far above? All right, let's say we got a bottom in here on the 60-minute chart. Let's grab our extensions on this one. And there's your target, 221 to 230. So if it gets to 230, that's obviously more profit than 221. But the problem is with targets, we never know exactly where it's going to end for the most part. So that's a target. So I don't think there's enough profit potential in here to make it worthwhile, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay. If you're in it, stay in it because that's your target. Okay. Don't have your stop so close that you can't reach your target. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at your next one, which is GDXJ. All right, another potential pennant. Now, let's see if we go here. We're pretty close to breaking out, okay? So that is there. Let me just draw this one here. See, we broke out already a little bit. So this is looking pretty bullish, okay? I'll put that up there. But notice here, we have green, 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 red. So we have 3 PTFs that are green. So I don't want to go short, that's for sure, right? So I think I'd wait for it to break out. You could wait for a bullish pyramid here, okay, before going long. So definitely have this on your watch list. I'm not going to recommend it until we break out of that pennant or you get a green PTF, green pyramid rather, okay? So this one is excellent for a watch list because I think it could happen soon, all right? So I'm liking it. Now, where's the target? Remember, you always got to have a target. Here. How do I get that target? Because this is showing the highest price bar in this green area. You see why I love this indicator? Because not only does it tell me more highs are coming, but it tells me where that high target zone is. So I can use it in my actual planning on trade size and risk to reward. So I love that, okay? All right, so there you have it. All right, so that looks pretty good. Close, very close to being a really good one. Just wait a little bit longer. Let's get a breakout. All right, now if we had a green pyramid here, I would probably say go, but I don't see any green pyramids yet. All right, so let's keep going here. KGC. All right. So right away, my eyes go to the PTFs. I got green here, red here. So, you know, what do you do when you have one color, this color, and this color, this color? People get awfully confused when they see that, but don't, okay? Because really, it's quite easy. What you go to the shorter time frame. This is going to happen first, okay? This is going to happen second, and then this is going to happen third because this is long term. So basically, what it's saying, it's going to make more high here before selling off here. And the reason for that is it's basically saying that this is a profit-taking or temporary move up, all right, only. It's not a major change in trend. So looks like we're probably going to make another, close to another high. But, you know, this is in Russian roulette territory because if you go long here, you know, the only target I can give you, I think, is here, because that's the PTF target for right now. Let's see if we can do any fib targeting here. Actually, we can. So because the PTF is red here, this is not a change in trend, so this is a retracement. So you can grab your retracements, pull them down here to here, and you're almost at the target. So that's my target, okay? And we're there. So I can't recommend a long trade. Now, I will tell you, I would look at this as a great short trade once this finishes moving up. So when this turns yellow, we get a little red here, we get red here. This is going to be yellow probably, but this one here is showing us here. So then, boom, we should get a big move down. And then once it starts moving down and we have some type of top here, okay, that we're kind of confident in, then you can grab your fib extensions as well. All right, so let's just draw them here, here, and go up to the 50% mark. And then your target is just below the bottom here, which is right near the PTF bottom on the weekly chart. And so that gives you a target below 226. So I wouldn't do anything with this long side, maybe a short trade at some point, okay? All right, so that is that one. Okay, so let's keep going here. NIO. NIO. Okay, so you're long on all those, okay? So on those that you're long, if you're near the target, that's why, okay? Be careful. Keep that stop close on that one we just looked at, KGC, because that could go a little higher, and then you'll probably want to keep those stops pretty close. All right, so you're long on this one. You probably got long here, and I can understand that, okay? Unfortunately, now what's going on here? Well, it's testing the bottom, isn't it? If it not created a new bottom. All right, let me grab this. I've got the actual numbers over here on another screen. So the low here is 7.11. Let's see what this is. Okay, 7.0. So it has not taken out the bottom yet. So chances are you have your stop, hopefully so, under that bottom. Now, a couple things. The pyramids, what the pyramids are designed to do is trade the current trends. It's not, you know, if your profit is way up here based off fibs or Elliott waves, the pyramids are not designed to keep you in all the way up to wave 5. That's not the purpose. The purpose of the pyramids is to trade the trend. And then once the trend is over, take you out of that trend, all right, and then give you some trend possibilities on the other way down. That's what it's designed to do. However, if you want to, you know, reach a target that's really high up here, that means you're going to have to suffer the pullbacks. So you don't use the pyramids. You have to keep it under here. So if you're trading Elliott wave and this is a 1 and this bottom holds and that's a 2, we get a spring off 3, all right, then great. Then you can, you know, your stop can go up under the low here, which is almost under the low anyway. But I would not go into this yet. We have an active pyramid to the downside. Yes, we have a green PTF, and we have a green PTF here. So we're probably going to get some type of move up. But there's also a possibility it could take one more slide before going, right? So we've got to be a little careful there. So put this on a watch list. If it bottoms, or if this shows to be a bottom, then we want to be all over, okay? One more low, and we'll take a look at it again too, all right? All right, good. And MARA, you're watching that one. Okay, first thing I want to do is try to get a target. Where's my target? Red here. All right, so I do have a PTF target short term of right on top of this price bar here. So that's what's that? What's that high right there? Let me see if I can get that. Looking at about 10.5, right? Okay, we're at 9.75. So you've got bullishness, you've got bullishness. Technically, you could take this long trade, but you're pretty close to the target. Let's see if the target does anything for us here. Yeah, I think you know, maybe you could probably get a little bit out, but I think we have better trades elsewhere, okay? So I kind of pass on this one. All right, thank you. All right, William, how are you? Let's take a look at yours here, okay? ICLN. Woohoo. All right, wow, what a short trade that would have been, right? Okay, too late to short now, all right? Now, I don't think the bottom's in. I do think we're going to have a little bit of a move up here, but this turned red recently, okay? So that is a sign that this is not a bottom. So, okay. You've got green here and green here. So you're having a little bit of profit taking here. And that's all I think it is based on the red PTF there. Okay, so how much profit taking? Hard to say. Let's just analyze this one particular area. So we could get into $15 to $16. So I'm not going to initiate a long trade on this. You know, if you put your stop anywhere logically on here, it'd have to be here, and here's the entry, and that's a 1-to-1 risk to reward. I'd rather have it 2-to-1. I don't like to take a trade until it's 2-to-1. So I'm going to pass on that. Okay. All right. So that's ICLN. All right. QS. QS. Ooh, okay. This I kind of like. Okay. Even though it's a cheap stock. Let's see what we got cooking here. All right. First thing I want to do is, I'm just going to draw a line at the bottom. Okay. Oh boy. All right. We actually made a new low here. Okay. Recently. All right. So that is interesting. All right. Maybe it took some stops out there. All right. So I'm liking this. We still technically have an active short trade here with a stop here. Okay. So I'm not going to issue a long trade, but this is looking pretty good. Can we look at this next week, Bill? Make sure you bring this next week, okay? I'm going to put that on a QS. What I want to see is if we have a bottom here and if we're going to start moving up from here. Looks like according to the PTF on the 60, that's going to happen, all right? If you're watching this over the next week before we meet and it goes above this high on the 60, which is this high too, all right, this turns green. We no longer have an active pyramid down here. And you want to take an early entry, put your stop under the pyramid here. I'd say yes. Okay, this is an MP, by the way. It's not a P. Okay, so it's a minor. So you have to take out that stop on the P pyramid before you can use that. Okay, all right. But I'm liking it. It's just not, it's a sliver from being okay. All right, it's close. And I got to tell you, you don't want to miss this one because the potential on this is huge. 13 bucks as a short term, even more long term. Okay, but you'd have to hold it for years to get way up to the long term. This one would happen probably within the next year. Okay, so let's see a little follow through. Okay, that's a tremendous opportunity though. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, CHPT. CHPT. Okay, another one. Boy, I like the fact you're looking at possible bottoms here. Okay, so it's still going down. We got red PTFs on all time frames now. All right, so this is kind of interesting. You see where it went from a green to a red over here? That's one of the 25% times it failed. Okay, it was not right. So when it goes from a red or green to a yellow, it means it worked. When it does this, and it did it here too, all right, something unexpected happened, but it was enough force down to change it. Okay, so in that case here, still going down. All right, and you know, that's the deal. We don't always win, do we? Okay, so this one don't do anything with. Again, keep an eye on it because let's see where it finishes, but not a good sign. Okay, all right, so that is that one. Let's do BLDP here and see how that's going. All right, so here, bottoming, liking that, possible bottom in. We have an active pyramid, I think, on the weekly chart that I'd like to see taken out here. See it? All right, you've had a number in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ps, right? Starting with this one. Okay, so if we get an MP here, and it takes out that P, it's a go. We've got green coming in. We've got yellow PTFs. They're not helping us because they're neutral. But this is a tremendous possibility here, okay? We just got to make sure the bottom's in. Now, what kind of possibility is it? All right, well, let's just draw a fairly conservative retracement. So what's the deal with retracements? Why do they work? Well, they work because when you draw them, what happens is there's a whole bunch of people shorting this stock, certainly not buying it, right? So at some point, the market, after the market moves down, reverses, okay? Everything is cycles. And when that reversal comes, you have a lot of people that shorted the stock covering it. So even though there's not a lot of news out on the stock, people are buying or buying back or covering their short positions, even with no news, because they want to take their profits, and they're technical traders, so they're seeing it bounce above support levels, right? And that drives up the price of the stock because nobody's selling it, everybody's buying it to cover their short positions. So that causes the initial move up. And then you do have people look at it and say, okay, using other forms of technical analysis, or waiting for a long trade or whatever, and they'll draw their fibs in, and they'll see the target here, so they'll buy. That causes it to go up even more. Then you have value people saying, geez, well, maybe this thing's got legs, I'll buy too, and that causes it to go up here. Then the market's got to make a decision here, all right? Are we going down again or going up? And if it blows through the correction area, there's your answer, all right? But I always plan, when I make a target, of a conservative target, to put it in, what if it's only a short-term bounce, which is kind of what I'm saying this is, all right? Short-term is kind of relative because it could last 6 months, right? Or a year. But the idea is that that's enough of a target to make this really worthwhile. So I'm really liking this. I'm saying, oh boy, it's so tempting to want to just jump in, but I would not do that yet. There's a couple reasons why it's tempting. One is that you had a move up here, a move down that did not take out the bottom. And then you had the hook, okay? So the pyramid did not form in here because the momentum that goes into forming the pyramids was not there, okay? The momentum, the pyramids do not just look at price patterns. It's looking at the momentum that forms those particular triangular pyramids. So it was not there. It was missing, all right? But that is the hook, all right? Maybe we'll get another one and get another pyramid in here. So, oh boy, I'd love to go long on this and really take a flyer. We stopped that out. We did not stop this out. The better thing to do is be a little bit more conservative and wait for it to take out this pyramid here, which would probably mean getting above here someplace, okay? So I'm going to put it on the watch list, but I'm going to put this as borderline, okay, because I really like it, and it could come ready within the next week. So that's outstanding, and I don't think you want to miss it to the upside. Just give it a little bit more time just to give us a clearer picture that it's moving up, okay? But I really like that one. Good job on that, Bill. Really good job. All right, let's please bring that next week too. Let's look at that one, okay? All right, let's keep going here. Alexander, WB. Well, you guys are getting good. All right, so what I'm liking about this is I think you're watching, good. So you're looking for bottoms and trading off those bottoms. You know, I really like that because the opportunity, when you have so much white up here, all right, and you can draw fibs that even give you profits, it's just a nice, clean trade. You know, if you start looking at trends that are mature and get in here, you're playing Russian roulette, okay? You have to be really precise on your next high because it may be your last. But something like this, when you can get in at the bottom, and believe me, bottom fishing has its own set of problems, okay? But we try to eliminate as much as we can those problems, not always, but we try to eliminate them by doing this kind of scrutiny. All right, so we've got a red PTF on the weekly. We've got a green one here. So there's our dichotomy of it's probably going up a little bit first before maybe it comes down. So, oh boy. Okay, so let's take a look at this and just see a possible retracement area. God, we came close. It's very possible that this could also go in the target one more time and come back down. That is possible, all right? So things have got to change, okay? I kind of would like to see a pyramid, because this made a new low here. I'd like to see this go green, new pyramid here, and make sure this holds and get above this bearish pyramid here before. I would trade to the long side for a correction, even if this is red. That's my only exception to going against those, if I think it's going into a correction. All right, but for right now, with the red active pyramid still on the weekly chart, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to recommend it. Okay, but watch list, okay? MNSO, MNSO. Okay, so this one going up, not a lot of history on this, just goes back to 2020. So what's going on with this? All right, well, PTFs are all green, so more highs are coming. The problem is those highs are close to current prices, okay? There may be a chance on a 60-minute chart to take a quick scalp that may last a week or so at the most, where you go long here, here is your stop, and here's your PTF, okay? Because here's your risk, and here's your 2 to 1. So you could do that, okay? That's the only trade I see possible. You're banking on it going up one more time, and that's it, all right? And actually, you're banking it only going up above here. This still could be a top. So you're only banking for it to go up there. So, but it still could make one more high. I mean, this is green, so, you know, it's possible that it would go there high. The reason why I say it's possible is that sometimes these PTFs stay green during a wave 4 and then don't prove themselves correct until 5, right? So it could be green during the correction down. So it's not necessarily a slam dunk that we're going to go above here before sliding down. Here, it's pretty much a slam dunk, simply because of the fact that it's going to happen before this one, right? So the only thing that would give you trouble is if this stop here, okay, the volatility takes you out. So I would say if you want a little quick trade there, all right, from 26 to 28, you could take it, all right, for a quick week trade. So let's put that down as a buy for, I'll call that a 60-minute scalp, okay? Makes sense? 60-minute scalp. All right, and then your other one, PDD. PDD. Okay, so green here. Bearish divergence, however, in the owl there, and a nice move up off its bottom here. Okay, so this one's really kind of interesting. So here we had a big move up and a big move down. Not much history. Maybe this is a 1, maybe this is a 2, and we're getting to go on to the exciting 3. Okay, that's a possibility, all right? Let's just see what we've got cooking here. I want you to notice I draw my fib extensions and retracements, not always using this, do I? All right, if I see a pullback here, that could be a 1, maybe a 2 somewhere in there. Interesting, maybe a 3, 4, 5 possibility. So I usually pick 2, or it's the first pullback after the move off the top or the bottom for that matter. All right, so we're kind of getting exceeding that there. Okay, so if this is a 2 and this is a 3, we should not go back up under here. Okay, we should be good to go. So this should be a bottom. All right, we got bearish divergence here. We've got, all right, pyramids there. We've got more highs here. All right, so here's my deal with this. I think we're going to get a pullback. All right, I'm not saying we're not going to not do this, but let's wait for that pullback because it's too late to get in now. All right, the better trade would have been, you know, back here. All right, when this pyramid formed. Okay. So let's wait for the pullback. Maybe you'll get in around 90.85 for it. I just don't know enough right now for me to take this trade until we get the next pullback. I want to be sure this bottom holds. So if we get a pullback and that holds and we get a surge, go. Okay, that's where you're going to go, right here. All right, so watch list on this. And again, you don't really have enough of the risk reward to even take a scalp trade on the 60-second. Okay. All right, Eleanor, how are you? Okay, let's take a look. All right, SMCI. All right. So assuming you're in it, if you're not, let's see where this thing could be going. All right, so we looked at this before. It barely hit the target zone, but it hit it, okay? We don't have a red yet, so this is not technically a wave 4 on this time frame. You have to have a red owl before we can identify this as a confirmed 4. So what does that mean? Well, it could be a minor inside a wave 3, and wave 3 continues, right? A lot of times what you have on these indicators like the owl, you'll have this and then one more bulb up before it goes negative, so to speak, and that creates one more high. That's the hook. So on this time frame, you don't have the hook yet, but it's forming. So that's kind of an indication that we're probably going to get one more high. All right, are we seeing that occur here? Possibly, and this is, okay, so let me draw in a fib retracement here. All right, so we hit there. All right, this is good. All right, so let me draw an extension in here. That's my target. We have a PTF short term. That's not helping us, but this one is. All right, I'm going to put this one down as a buy. Okay, MCI looks good. Good job. Now, where do you put your stop? All right, so let's up the ante here. I would put it here, or actually here, maybe whatever is the lowest low. I think that might be it. Okay, so this should be okay. Actually, you can put it here. Okay, if that gets taken out, it's going to take out that. That means it's going back into the target zone. Now, if you really want to be conservative, you can put it down here. Okay, and why do I say down there? Because it's below the target zone. So that should save you even if it makes one more low. Okay, or you can choose the 50% mark. You know, you're probably better off putting it here because if it goes below there, just get out, see how far down it goes, and then just do it again. Okay, do it again, right? Just trade it again. All right, target is 405 to 514. If you put your stop here, you've got a 2 into the target. I'm comfortable with that. All right, so it looks good. Good job. All right, so that's a buy. If you're in it already, Eleanor, you just put your stop under where people would put their stop if they were just going in. All right, Meta, Facebook. Meta. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, notice we had a pullback here. All right, just missed the target. 15% of the time they end in between the blue and the red line, and then it took off again. So, wow, what a move, right? All right, so let's remove this, all right? And notice here, we weren't sure if it was going to be a retracement or a big move. And so, look, when it goes through that thing and doesn't calm down, doesn't reverse rather, you know it's going to make a new high. And that's exactly what it's going to do. All right, so now what do you do? If you're in it, okay, you probably would have been just taken out because this pyramid here was hit. So you would have been, you know, your entry would have been actually down in this area here. I'm sorry, here, because this formed a pyramid. So you would have been stopped out of a short here. Let me just magnify that because this is kind of important. All right, so here, okay, you would have trailed your stops down, right? Okay, so your stop would be here. So you would have gotten out of a short here, but then you got a long position here. All right, you look down here, this was green, and that's a go. So there's your long position, you trail your stops up, all right, and then you were taken out here, okay? So that was a beautiful trade, double your money on that one, right? Fairly quick amount of time too. So now what do you do? Well, I'd be a little nervous about going in at these upper levels, especially considering the pyramids just stopped me out. So I'm not saying we're not going to take out this high. Okay, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that this is probably due for some profit-taking correction before it goes back up. All right. Now, could it make another quick high and get a little higher? Sure. Okay. Maybe it'll do this. And then it's just more risky to get in here than down here. So I would not do a long trade here, but I would do it. For example, if it started correcting now, I'd probably do it when it got in between 253 and 198, and it's at 333. So that's kind of where it may come down to when it decides to take a profit. Of course, that'll be higher if it makes another high, but there, you know, that you get the idea. All right. So I'm kind of liking this. All right. I think we kind of were thinking it would do that here, but now we got that one more high when we looked at it last week. See? So actually what we were doing, and I was wrong before, what we were doing here is we were seeing where the pullback would be. So we got that one more high. So actually you got the hook here. So it maybe get close to coming down. Okay. All right, there you go. All right. OLLI. If I'm saying on that one, I would not take the trade. Okay. Don't take a new long trade. You would have been stopped out on a long trade anyway. And it's too early to consider a short retracement trade. So we can look at that next week for that possibility. All right, OLLI, same type of thing. It's already moved up quite a bit. I see a red PTF now on the 60-minute chart here. So it looks like there's a high probability of taking this little bottom out. You can't go short because you're so close to the target there. And you know, in terms of going long, you got bearish divergence, you've got many pyramids, and you got the stop right here. I wouldn't do anything with this, okay? That's OLLI. All right, let's take a look at SNAP, or OWL here, SNAP. Okay, SNAP. Ooh, nice. Little breakout on SNAP, huh? Okay. All right, so really looks good. Okay. My only thing with something like this is, you know, I looked at it before a while back, and I kind of wanted it to get above here, because what happens is if you went into this early in the year, okay, and got stuck in this, yeah, this could be a bottom, no question about it, but your money would have gone nowhere for a year. So you got to be careful not getting caught in channels. Now, when you go in early, you never know if that's going to happen. Okay, that's one of the risks of going in super early. All right. And, you know, a lot of times I'm willing to take that risk. But, you know, because when it goes into here, you can do some time decay options and get some little bit of premium while it's bouncing around, right? But the idea is here is that you kind of want, it's looking promising. Let's just say that, but it's looked promising before. So let me just put green here. Okay, so I would just wait for the breakout, because if it breaks out, there's going to be tons of profit for this. So don't worry about waiting a little bit. But let's put that on our watch list, and that's one of the top ones. So, you know, in terms of the watch list, the top ones, we got GDXJ, QS, BLDP, and SNAP. All right. You know, the indicators are indicating, except you don't have really a solid pyramid yet, that it's a go. So probably, you know, wait for a pyramid, get it above that line, and get going. Let's look at that next week, Al. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at one more. I guess we should wrap it up. We've been going for an hour and a half, haven't we? Wow. That seems unbelievable. GBHT. See, time flies when you're having fun, right? All right, so, oh boy, that's pretty messy. Okay, let's kind of see. I don't see a long trade. There's not enough profit potential, I think, on this one. All right, I don't think I would take this. And you got red here, and you got a messiness here. If you wanted to consider a long-term short, and this is your top, yes, I think probably. Again, I think we're going back up above 185, so you might want to wait for this 60-minute chart to turn bearish again. So I'm not going to initiate this as a buy now, but again, boy, we've got quite a few on the watch list for a short, okay? So let's take a look at this next week. I want the 60-minute chart, the one on the left, to get bearish before considering a short. All right, I guess we should wrap it up there, okay? What a tremendous day this was here, okay? Great stocks. Let's go just quickly. I'm just going to recap here, and let's go through the good ones. All right, so RUN is one, FUTU is the other, BBAI is one, MNSO, 60-minute scalp trade off the PTF, right? And then the final one is a go today is SMCI. So we've got basically 5 good ones, and we looked at a lot, but that's the process, right? So, boy, I'm pleased with that. That's really excellent. So keep those watch list ones and bring those next week so we don't miss any of those if they come out. So for those of you that had me look at ones and I said watch list, please bring those back for next week, and we'll look at those. All right, well, I guess we'll end here. All right, thanks for being here. I don't think I'm going to roll it over to the day trading time frame because we've been on for quite some time. I guess we should go ahead and end. It is my pleasure. All right, you're very welcome, everybody. And I will have the recording up. So if you want to actually, and I'll put a timeline up there that will take you to the winners for today. So if you want to see the review on those again, just give me a little bit today to get the timeline up there, and we'll get it posted on the recording, okay? Then you can have quick access to those. All right, so have a great week. And I guess I need to say have a great Thanksgiving because we won't be back until the day after Thanksgiving, okay? So have a great one, and we'll see you all back here next week. Thanks so much. Good turnout today and great stocks. All right, bye-bye.